Let's go,
Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What's going on, Chip?
What's going on?
We have a great guest tonight. We're going to talk about that here in 1 second. But Ripple XRP, you know what this is all about. It's all about buying into the crypto revolution. The question, though, is it fact or is it fiction? We have Bitcoin almost hitting all-time highs. Crypto is exploding across the board. Our special guest tonight, Chip?
Yes. An OG from the neighborhood, member from the neighborhood, from Twitter. You guys know him, you love him. We have none other than DM Logic here with us tonight, and it's a rare appearance because he doesn't really do appearances, but he was gracious enough to come on.
That's it. If we're ready to kick this thing off, I'm ready to kick it off.
Let's
Everyone's
get started.
fired up, Chip. People
Let's do it. Let's go.
Up.
Come on.
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Just love that beat, Jeff. And now, without further ado, Jeff, get the drum roll ready. We have none other than, here he is. DM Logic, what's up? DM Logic. What's up, DM?
Holy How you guys doing?
Hey, man, good to have you on the chain. Very good to have you here with us.
I heard a collective groan in the community when I came on.
Hell no, man. That's nothing but laughter. No, it's happiness.
Laughter, that's right.
Tears of joy, you know, all that stuff. It's all there together, man. Well, the reason you say that is because your videos sometimes get, one of the things that they're very good at is getting some sort of a response, whether it's an emotional response, whether it's something people don't believe in, whether it could be something, right? And that's you're doing something, right?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to annoy people.
And you have done very well, right?
Well, that's how you get a reaction. I find sometimes it's by, you know, you poke people enough and you get a reaction, and you know. So, I mean, honestly, there's a method to the madness, sort of. I mean, I like to make people think differently than they currently think, and you do that. You make people do that when you start poking at what you know they believe, and if you poke what they believe long enough that they get mad about you poking it, they actually start to challenge their preconceptions about that thing. And you can get them to start thinking differently than they usually would be willing to think if you didn't poke at them. But if you just say it to them nicely, like, consider this, you know, they don't consider it. No. But if you sit there and poke at them, they get defensive and they have to have a response to it, you know? And so I just find it's effective.
Well, yeah, when you poke them in both eyes, they're like, dude, whoa, what's up? You know, you hit them both. Look at this. Docs Gambling says, in honor of DM Logic.
Oh, thank you, Docs.
So there you are. See, fanboy.
Yeah, and
I'd prefer he sent it to me, you know, directly. But if you know,
look at this, DM. So Norseman is saying, you know, from back in the day, but he said that you kept him sane.
That didn't work for many people. Many people
worked for me. I was like, I loved it, man. I loved that I ate it up and stuff. And people got, man, I was in DM groups where people be like, they would like post one of your videos like, dude, and they start like bitching about it. And I was just sit back and laugh. It's like, it's good fodder, man.
Well, I can't tell you how many people told me. And look, I'm still a massive XRP fan, an XRP Ledger fan. I'm still an XRP fan. I still think it's one of the greatest digital assets out there. The only reason I'm not in it still is just because of the lawsuit. And so even back in the day when I had anything to say about diversifying or something, I can't tell you how many people told me I was insane for diversifying. You don't need to, because this is XRP. And I remember making a video and talking about things like pandemics and talking about other, you know, black swan events that can occur.
Easy.
That I know that you cannot predict. You cannot predict. And people didn't like that at all. But
man, you know what,
you're welcome. I got them into CSC.
Yeah, Darcy said you got into CSC, and funny thing enough, I mean, I jumped on the bandwagon too. Once I saw them go into Ledger, I said, okay, now it's time. It's a really good time to go over there. And of course, you know, I think it's a really strong project. I really think it's a great project, and it's doing really some good stuff out there.
Yeah. So check this out. This is from Sir John. And this, it's funny because I was trying to envision, he said, this is the guy from a car. And I'm thinking about it.
Right?
I'm like, wait a minute. Well, he wasn't in a car. He was in,
a
I
truck.
remember you playing guitar in the house and used to do the videos, but then, yeah, you used to be in your van.
Yeah. In my work van.
Videos
Your
from
work van. With all the stuff behind you, man.
Yeah. I'd have boxes and tools and stuff spread about. That was the backdrop.
Pontificating on XRP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then later other projects and other things along the way that sort of came up. So speaking of XRP, let's jump into some really good news here that I just love. Again, this is, it happens almost daily. There's some great stuff. It's a partner, it's a this or that. But just I wanted to throw this up there and let's jump into this. Ripple put this tweet out. We're excited to share that since establishing our partnership in March, Tranglo has launched its first on-demand liquidity service in the Philippines with plans to introduce more corridors in the coming months. Of course, we don't have to get into the whole thing,
Sure,
but then they hit this with, additionally, Tranglo will be using our fiat connections on RippleNet to process multiple currencies in the Asia-Pacific region, including the Philippine peso and the Thai baht. Pretty cool.
How much do you think that stuff is undergirding the price moves that we've seen in XRP? I mean, because even though the USA market has died for it temporarily, they've been killing it overseas still. You still hear about all sorts of stuff. And to try to explain why the price has gone up from whatever it was at under 20 cents after the lawsuit, and then up to what did it get to? $2 or close to it?
Close to $2.
Pretty close, 190s or something like that.
I've wondered what is to explain. Is there anything to explain that move fundamentally, aside from the pure speculative nature of where we're at right now?
I think it was the hype of the market at that point too. So most of the assets kind of, there's an ebb and flow, right? Like the ocean. So Bitcoin's flowing out and everything's kind of being pulled with it. And then when Bitcoin pulls back, everything else seems to pull back with it. Sometimes things get left behind a little bit. Right now, XRP is being left behind as Bitcoin hits all-time highs. But but there was a huge divergence though, because Bitcoin was probably around 20,000 when XRP was around 50 cents. And then all of a sudden, it just exploded upwards, so it's obviously, 3 times the growth. But here's XRP is up, down, hovering in that dollar range. XRP is comfortable in the dollar range.
And good news tanks the price. You got good news.
Yeah, every time. Yeah. So many people, the instant good news came out, said it would instantly tweet, well, there goes the price of XRP. There's good news on it, because it was just axiomatic.
Yeah. I wanted to throw this one up here real quick. Mr. B, XRP said, I've had dinner with 2 of 3 of these people. Chip is soon.
Damn right.
What's up, hey DM?
And you know who's going to be paying for that?
Accurate. Huh?
And you know who's going to be paying for that? Mr. B and company, right? You don't want to know why? Because we got this bet going, DM. We got a bet going. We got Mr. B and Alex Coining 203 who are in the camp of settlement. And then we have Jeff and I who are in the camp of, nah, not going to happen. It's going to go
that's
the
what
distance.
I think too, yeah.
What, settlement or distance?
No, I don't think they're settling.
No, hell no. I've already said it. Like, are they gonna provide the clarity? Do you see the SEC going? I'll tell you what. Listen, folks. We erred in our judgment, and Gary Gensler be like, I know I've gone to MIT, so I've thought a lot about this. And what we're gonna do is we are going to make an exception. We're gonna say that today's XRP. By the way, I taught a course at MIT, MIT, or whatever he says, right? And he goes,
right.
MIT, and he goes, and by the way, today's XRP. Not a security. Never going to happen in a lifetime. No.
And he doubled down on that today in his presentation in front of the fintech.
It was weak, right, Jeff?
It's so horrible. I'm listening. He's a broken record. And then he goes back into his soapbox about the majority of the assets are securities. But he had to reference MIT. He had to reference what he thought about the technology of blockchain and Bitcoin and some of those things. And then he immediately goes back to, well, the majority of them, as we know, are investment contracts. And I was like, no, we don't know that. And that's your opinion and not anybody else's opinion. What's do you think about what's happening, DM? Yeah.
Well, I have little doubt who Gary Gensler actually works for. And it's not the little guy that he swears he's in there to protect. And that's obvious by the decisions that he's making, because the little guy is not being protected by anything he's doing. Who's being protected? The legacy financial systems are being protected. So I have no doubt who he actually works for. He's a Trojan horse in there, doing what he has to do to protect the legacy financial systems that he comes from. He didn't come from that stock and suddenly turn overnight, and now he's against them and he's actually for us. That didn't happen. He came in to protect them, and he's doing his job as he's supposed to be doing it. So I thank God, honestly, for Hester Pearson, you know, whoever, whatever other Trump nominees are on that committee that are, you know, holding him back from what he'd actually like to do. Like this recent report on, what was the report that he did recently on the manipulation in the stock market or something?
Oh yeah, the what do you call it? The AMC thing? Is that the one we were talking about? Yeah. And
apparently the other people on the committee pulled him back enough that got changes into that report. And that, you know, I thank God that there's people like that on there. Otherwise, who the heck knows what would be happening right now?
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
Look at that, Jeff. John Doe is rooting against me. He says, you're going down, Chip.
You're going
down, and then we got
Chip.
Norseman wants to know if you're still in Pittsburgh.
Yes, I am.
Where can you say where in Pittsburgh?
No, I can't.
Okay. All right.
I'm on the east side.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I've got a great fun story about how I almost died an hour in McKee, where it's not McKees Rocks, but there's a park north of Pittsburgh that I almost bit it when I was like 21 years old. I got swept away in the water and I almost went over the waterfall. And when it is about 6 degrees outside and you can barely move when you're in the cold water like that. Oh and my buddy's trying to throw me the life thing on the side of the thing, and he's like coming up short. I'm like, it's over, man. I'm going over the waterfall, and it's all in. But he hooks me, pulls me in, and it was great.
Really?
A weekly show. Look at that.
You're funny,
sudden,
Jungle.
Look at the commitment. All of a sudden, you're like got him committed to a weekly show already, right?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Oh God.
Yeah. So what's up with you? You know, you were making videos, you took a hiatus, obviously still involved in the crypto space. What's
Well, yeah, I mean, so back when I was making videos, that was before I got tired of seeing myself and hearing myself. I just sincerely, you know, I was a musician too, right? And so I think Chip is as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure much better than me.
No.
But I was a songwriter. I used to play. I loved being on stage. The two places I was comfortable was one-on-one with someone in conversation or in front of hundreds of people.
I hated that.
That's where I was very comfortable. I hate it now. Like I can't. I don't know what happened to me. I got older.
You get older. That's what happens.
I think that's what it is. I just got older. I think you guys got me beat. At least you do, Chip. But
by the way, is it weird if I go ahead and plug my my music? You can see my music down.
That's why I brought it up.
On the you can go. We're on the chain, but you can go see No Joy Yet. That's the name of my band. You can see it in the what do you call it, the comments. You can click on it. And you can listen to it for free, man. It's good. You can like it and hate it. Some people go, this is great, and some people go, this is the worst stuff I've ever heard. I'm like, that's cool. Some, you know, you're not going to please everyone. That's one of the things we learned. The best thing that happens to Jeff and I are the comments, right? Because you probably know this from the videos. Oh, yeah. Is like, yeah, spot on, great. But then someone rips you a new one. You're like, dude, what video were you watching? I was like,
right.
I mean, right. Jeff and I have to go back and review it. Did we say that?
The most frustrating thing for me was that people read into, or they hear what they want you to say, or what agrees with them or what disagrees with them. And then they start trumpeting that on social media, saying that you said something. And I'm like, I never said anything like that. What are you talking about?
Sometimes you got to call them out. But look at this right here. Since we're talking about, so we saw this today, and I'm going to have to, somebody sent this to me, and sorry, thank you for sending it. But this is Congressman Antonio Delgado. He said, today, as the chair of the House AG Dems subcommittee on commodity exchanges, energy and credit, I led a digital assets roundtable. Great to speak with the experts and learn more about an increasingly important sector. And this tweet was quoted by none other than Susan Friedman. You're probably going, well, who the hell is Susan Friedman? Well, if you look at her bio right here, she happens to be the head of public policy at Ripple. Her opinions are her own, just like the SEC. See how that works? not just her opinions, right? Great to be part of today's discussion and appreciate that the House AG Times and the House AG GOP taking the time to chat with the industry participants. Public-private cooperation is critical to foster the right regulatory framework for digital assets. And then I'm like, I show this to Jeff, and I'm like, Jeff, what the hell are they talking about digital assets in the in this subcommittee on commodity exchanges and what they deal with energy? But Jeff, you kind of looked into it, and what did you come up with?
As to why the agricultural
right, exactly.
committee.
Exactly.
So it comes right down to here because well, pull back the article, and it's right there. It's on commodity exchanges, energy, and credit falls right into the agricultural. So those are subcommittees of the agricultural, and so that's it. That's the only reason. Because look what they're overseeing: commodity exchanges and energy, Bitcoin, energy, and then credit, which I didn't know. I didn't know until they were talking about it. Why would that fall under the agricultural committee? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
But it's interesting. At least they're talking both sides. They brought a bipartisan group together. They're talking about it, and Ripple was just one of the participants had a policy. So. Unfortunately, it's not the group run over there by Maxine Waters. They're like going down rabbit holes of stuff that doesn't exist. You know, they're like chasing
everything.
Yeah, destroying everything. Everything is this. It's like everything woke is absolute shite. I mean, that's kind of how it looks, right? Everything they touch, it just withers and crushes and dies. You're laughing. So tell us.
Well, you brought up Maxine Waters, the smartest person I've ever seen in probably the history of Congress. She's just brilliant.
She's running that. She's the one in charge of that committee.
She's the one that's going to dictate whether or not the Token Taxonomy Act actually gets a voice in her committee.
Chances of her even understanding any of it
next to nil. Well, what was interesting was, we had Congressman Warren Davidson on here, and he was saying he's been in her office a couple of times. He says, when you talk to her, she's like the sweetest lady. That's why they call her anti-Maxine.
Huh.
So in person, he says like she's real sweet. What do you want to talk about? This and that, whatever. But then you see her, and she's just like crushing like skulls. You know what I mean? Like down with you. And then so apparently she does have a nice sweet side, which is kind of like refreshing, right? She has a nice side to her.
I guess.
Unless
it's a total act, and what she really is like is the other person that you hear and see all the time. I mean,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's her real personality. She sucks you in.
I noticed a while ago in politics, and it's a sad state that we've come to. I don't think truth matters. I don't even think they believe in truth. I don't think there is absolute truth on anything to them anymore at all. They don't care about it. They care about narratives. If the narrative plays, we repeat it and we use it as much as we possibly can to reach a desired end. Yeah. But what is the truth about that desired end? Who cares? What does that have to do with anything? What the truth is? We have a narrative that works and we're trying to accomplish something here,
Well, that was like the press secretary saying, well, the reason inflation has hit its high,
right,
and the shelves are bare, is because people are making more money and there's higher demand. I'm like,
this is straight. Yeah. What is that called? Something Speak from 1984.
I was like, what in the hell? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I got it. Oh, no, I was thinking.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah. I mean, you think about how they're twisting the narratives. And one of the narratives they were trying to pass last week was that the reason why all this is happening is because we're coming out of a recession. And then I was trying to think back, I'm like, come out of a recession? When were we in a recession? Maybe I fell asleep in 2020 and we were in a recession. That wasn't a recession. And before that, everything was doing great. They're trying to cover up the inflation and the devastation. And, but a lot of it, it's amazing, because here we have all these things that are happening, but the focus on the crypto asset space is where we should have. There's a lot of positive things coming out of the crypto space, yet they want to maintain a narrative that crypto is utilized for nefarious purposes, not good for anyone. Nobody's benefited from it. It's you know, and there's no real world utility. That's Janet Yellen, Maxine Waters, Elizabeth Warren, Brad Sherman, and there's a whole host of these individuals that are going to come out with this mantra, but they couldn't be further from the truth. But right now, in this moment in time, politically, it's their way or the highway. And now they got Gary Gensler in there too. He's the cop on the beat, you know, and it's just
Jeff, can you tell DMs you created a new phrase for Janet Yellen?
Oh, Brenda.
Let's go, Brenda.
Go, Brenda.
Let's go, Brenda. Yeah, that's one of Jeff's probably all-time wittiest things, and there's a lot of them. But I was like, I almost choked on my with not even drinking anything. I was like dying. I was like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. So let's go, Brenda. Yeah, and then put Yellen's face on there, you know. But you can almost do that with anything. You know how they had the Karen thing for a while,
right?
You could put Pelosi's face. I mean, it's just like mix and match, you know. Omar. I mean, put them all. They're all interchangeable. Let's go, Brenda. And then all of a sudden, Brenda's the world. They're like, what the hell? I'm just here minding my own business. Like the Karen's the world. They're like, man, Karen was like a cool name, and then it became a not cool name.
Jeff, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
No, Jeff. Tell him no.
Because you're real involved politically, I think, down in Florida, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I mean, one of the ideas I had back in August, I closed my business mostly because of crypto. And since then, I've been sort of drifting aimlessly and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with all my time. But one of the things I thought about was starting a political action committee that was crypto based, because I don't see those kind of groups springing up anywhere. Am I unaware of the fact that they are springing up, or aren't they?
They're not.
There's a couple that are out there, like what is it, Blockchain Association? But have you heard of them?
No.
I mean, are they outspoken? And really, a lot of this, you know, if you think about having a lobbyist group, and you know, we've talked about this before, so I'm glad you're bringing it up. But think about it from a regional perspective, right? So if you want to lobby, you know, go to Washington to lobby, or do you want to lobby your state rep, you know, so state house, state Senate, and then your congressional representative. And those are that's your direct circle of influence. If you can get enough people to come in as a starting point, you know, to me, that's a great, you know, initiative, at least.
Do you think they respect people more, groups of people, or groups of money more?
What do you
think?
That's
a good question. That's a great question.
I'm a cynic.
Yeah, I think, you know, they'll yeah, I think they want the money. But at the end of the day, it depends who your representative is, you know, especially at the state level, because the state level, you know, I think you have more of a direct line to make some changes. So if you think about what you could do for Pennsylvania, you know, we thought about what we could do here in Florida. We already have some activity in Tampa and Miami, but to go after the state representatives is great, and try to get some legislation at the state level and make some changes there, because a lot of the things that we're seeing have to go back to the states. The states have more power than people realize, and we've all forgotten it. And the state representatives and our governors and basically our state governments have forgotten the amount of power that they hold. And we just saw it in the last election cycle, that not only did they forget the power, but they're willing to secede the power, and they were also willing to breach their own constitution.
Yeah.
To do things that they shouldn't have done. So how is that possible? You know, so I think right now we're seeing that there's more and more focus on what can we do at the state level. So man, if you put something like that together, I think it would be outstanding. You know,
I'd love to talk with you offline about, you know, how you think that could be best approached, even just initial meetings with local reps and that kind of thing. It's something I'm willing to start working on. I really feel like until there's lobbyists, you know, knocking on their door and offering a pool of contributions, you're not going to be on the radar. I just feel like that's what speaks in Washington, or I don't know to what degree locally, maybe at a state level to some degree, though, and then certainly at a federal level.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So, it's interesting. If you can work on some of that, it would be awesome. I would be willing to, to help, in any way I can, with something like that. I'm sure Chip would as well, and I think within the community, we could probably pull enough people together, to start a little bit of an initiative. If you want to head the initiative, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is awesome too. Vlad Ponzar, look at that. Beautiful support. Great, clean show. Keep up the good work. That means we got to keep it clean.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the swearing part yet. That's coming up next, Vlad.
Yeah, we got to be very careful about that. But thank you so much for that, Vlad. Really appreciate that. And next up is Vlad the Impaler, which he'll be making an appearance here shortly thereafter as well. So yeah, I mean, yeah, the best part of that's one of the best parts of this show too, is that we do talk about geopolitical stuff, and Jeff and I do align on most of this stuff. We kind of like differ on some things because, well, I will just say that I've been an independent for 20 some years because I believe that the feckless, worthless party, surprisingly, is the ones with the big R in front of it because they are absolute abject losers. They're cowards. And
absolutely cowards.
The other party is like, I have to admire them. They stick together, they support each other, and they go, hey, we'll support you. Even though it's like, well, listen, you were selling babies at a fair. They're like, well, come on, everyone does it. It's like, it's a kind of a crazy thing like that. But they all stick together. They're like, hey, man, there's nothing. No one's saying that's really weird or anything. But meanwhile, it's like on the other side, they say, but didn't you? What do you think about what so-and-so did? And do you endorse it? Now, see, they always get like nailed on that. Well, what do you have to do with me?
Yeah.
So this is where I differ. Or I think that it's anyway. That's my 2 cents. That's my 3 cents. I didn't say any cents.
I've been a registered libertarian for over 10 years.
You can't do that here.
A similar experience, with one party that I just got so sick of. And when I get the mailers or the phone calls, I said, don't even talk to me. I mean, like you've lost me forever. I'm sorry. And I know that, well, whatever. That's an off the air conversation probably.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a different philosophy on that, but I believe in taking back the party. So
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. It's an uphill battle, but it's actually beyond party politics, because when we're looking at crypto, we have people that a lot of libertarians, a lot of independents, we have Democrats, Republicans. Crypto has gone across the entire spectrum. The one thing that people are waking up to on all sides of the aisles is that, we're seeing this narrative within Washington that has been extremely self-serving, right? And self-enriching. So they're there. The majority of them are lifers. When you become a lifer, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, you're there for life to make money. How is it that you're on a salary of $180,000 and yet you're worth tens of millions of dollars?
Right.
It isn't possible, and then you see all of the different things that they're privy to. And they're, look at what's his name from Fox News was doing the expose on Pelosi and going over her net worth, and her net worth has tripled over the past couple of years. Now, once you get to a certain level, but how is it, that when you see that kind of orchestration? But the thing is, in the crypto space, people are waking up to the fact that when you have these self-grandizing individuals that are there for themselves and not for the people, and then crypto comes along, we talk about decentralization equals freedom. People around the world are waking up to that initiative, and that is everything. And so people are going to be fleeing the Democrat Party to vote the right way. People are going to leave, their hardcore Republican to vote the right way. We need people that support this idea of freedom and decentralization. We obviously see where the line's been drawn, because right now the left, like Chip's saying, the Democrat Party is stuck together, pulling the country into socialism, right? They're outspoken about it. So if anyone disagrees, it's right there on TV in black and white, in print. They say what they are doing. It's very obvious, and look at Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler is trying to crush the one innovative technology that everybody here supports. So when people wake up to that that narrative, then it's good for everybody. That's how I see it.
Yeah. I feel like crypto is really, I mean, it's a overused phrase, but it is a great equalizer in so many ways, not just financially, but in so many ways in terms of information, in terms of media or social media. I mean, there's so many ways that it can equalize the playing field. And, you know, I think what you're seeing is established systems just freaking out about it, because this was not part of the plan, you know, for there to be an uprising from underneath that equalized things, that gave equal footing to people like you and me that aren't supposed to have it, or lesser than us, you know, not guys that have been around a while and are doing okay, but people who weren't before are suddenly able to get into that playing field. They did that doesn't suit their purposes at all. I did a video a couple years ago about disruption, and how disruption, that word, has been used in the IT field and other fields. It's become like a cute keyword in business, you know, but disruption is actually a nasty word that the people that are involved in the old legacy systems don't like at all. And they don't find it a cute word. They don't find disruption cute at all. They want to crush it. It's like, you know, some totalitarian regime that's looking to stamp it out so that it can't continue on. So I think that's where we're at with all of this. But
yeah, we are. But crypto's also bringing people together. I want to just put this up there. John Gill, thank you for that. Great show and guest, Chip and Jeff. Also, hello to Dave from Pittsburgh. So there you go.
What do you mean, Dave? How do you, what
the hell?
Yeah.
What the hey? What the what? Say what?
I just want to throw this up here. So if you guys haven't seen, I mean, you kind of had them all laid out in there. It was nice. I was looking for one video that you made where you were singing. Did you do a song, or was this?
I did a few different ones.
You did a couple of skits, and
yeah, you did stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
Here, I think, wasn't it? Right here. This is from about a year ago. I think this was it, but I can't.
Well, yeah, there's a Vincent Wilson song. Do you guys remember Vincent Wilson?
Yeah, Vincent Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, that's the song. That was I remember that. That's what
search for Vincent Wilson there. Search.
Yeah, that's on there.
You see the search, Jeff, on the top navigation, right to the right, down. No, not there. Down.
What do you mean down?
Well, right there. See where the navigation. Yeah, that's the one. That searches the channel.
Yeah, look at that. I didn't even know that was there.
Well,
it's because it's almost hidden. I mean, my God, it's like, who would think to click that? I did. Got lucky.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, so you can search the channel, which is great. That's how I search for our videos when we're looking for something. Let's see.
That's it.
That must be it.
Yeah. Boom. You sharing that audio, Jeff?
I will.
Share the audio. See, look at Dion's like, I didn't know we were going to do this. Oh, hell yeah, we are.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you got to turn it off before you put the thing in. Hey, Jeff, while we're doing that, I want to throw this up here real quick, because this came up pre-show where I tweeted this out. You know, Jeff and I always tweet, hey, coming up on the chain. I said, hey, we're looking forward to chatting with DM Logic. And then XRP, the standard production, says, ask him if he's really XRP Productions. Are you?
No, I'm not that clever. Unfortunately, I'm not that clever.
Are you doing that? And I'm like, yeah, well, we're gonna find out. And there was a lot. Of good. There's a lot of good responses. Apex said, sad to miss the show tonight. Ferdy said, ask if XRP Productions has something against XRP Twin. I mean, I'm the debate. I mean, asking for a friend. So Berserker says, nice. There's a lot of people playing off of that and having some fun. That was pretty fun there. So
that is. And I just got to give a quick shout out here right before we get this thing started.
Come on, man, Berserker.
You know you're legendary when you got your own shout out video, man. That's pretty awesome. Berserker. All right, let's do this. Let's do it, Jeff. Turn out that volume.
Sure, the volume's up.
Okay, we got it. Let's do it.
Here we go. That's our gear. Getting ready to watch a movie.
I was very, very ill when I made this, by the way.
Well,
You seem to know a lot is true, Vincent Wilson. I can remember when you first wrote, Vincent Wilson. Your enigmatic little first note, Vincent Wilson. Your secret code, your chilling cipher on the screen. Said 20,000 XRP could be life-changing in a couple of years. When I read it, I believed. And just like that, you disappeared, Vincent Wilson. And that's it. That's the end of the song.
Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, but Chef, I wonder how many people remember Vincent Wilson.
Oh my God. I bet there's a lot of people that don't remember Vincent Wilson.
Well, that was it. 1,000 XRP could be life-changing.
20,000.
20,000. 20,000.
That's what he came in.
Every single video. Yeah.
Everybody's videos.
He made himself a legend by making one comment about 100,000 times.
Gone.
That's how it's done.
Still quoted today, by the way.
But he disappeared. And then he came out and there was another one. And then he made a video and said, I'm the real Vincent Wilson.
Yeah.
Nobody believed this guy. They were like, you're not the real Vincent. I'm sorry. It's funny.
Yeah.
Vincent Wilson.
Think about how much fun XRP brought back in the day. From the whatever pictures those were. Who the heck was the person making the pictures that Sam was explaining every week?
Oh, yeah, there was a couple. I try to think of the one. Yeah, it was awesome.
plus Bearable Guy.
Riddlers and everything, man.
Riddlers,
awesome.
Yeah.
It was Marvin Gaye was the one that was making those pictures. That Marvin Gaye was one of them. There was somebody else. I mean, Marvin Gaye.
They found out who was making them.
Well, Marvin Gaye was just like an anonymous name where they put that out. Was the one tweeting it. Then now we have, we have Bubba Cuggs. Now we have who else do we have? Trying to think. Who's the one that always tweets the picture? These guys will know. Tweets the picture, deletes it. Like if you don't snap it on your phone, you can't click on it because it's already deleted.
Oh, really?
He'll tweet 2-3 things at the same time. See if you guys know in the comments there. I caught one the other night too, because I was like, oh, because it's almost like a thrill to be able to catch it. Here it is, right here, Mr. Pool.
Mr. Pool.
So Mr. Pool. See, that's like I actually got a Mr. Pool right there.
Chip,
now, if you click on it, it's already gone. We have Gary Gensler.
Yeah, XRP Panic is notating, forget about the bears and the riddles and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, right.
No, please. No, that's not what we got.
Gary Gensler is like, he's like the Joker to the Batman. It's like you have to have the offset. So Gary Gensler is the Joker, or he's not the Riddler, that's for sure.
Okay, guys, I want to get your take on this one here. This is kind of, I want to preface it with anything, but Sam Altman tweeted this out. Introducing WorldCoin, a new crypto that will be distributed fairly to as many people as possible. And I'm like, what is that? Well, that happens to be an eyeball because that's how they plan on doing this. And Sam Altman, if you don't know who he is, he runs Y Combinator out in San Francisco. So he goes, so his WorldCoin unveils hardware that will scan your eyeballs for crypto. No names, no addresses, just eyeballs.
What could go wrong?
It doesn't sound Orwellian or anything, right? It doesn't sound weird. It sounds perfectly. To get your fair share, you have to show the orb. It's called. They made a device called the orb.
They're even making it scary.
And it's like one of those movies where and it sucks your soul out or something. But you get crypto, so that's kind of cool. I'm not kidding about the orb.
Your soul for crypto. For what is it?
WorldCoin. He's former Y Combinator. I can't keep up with what Sam's doing. I got to see where the thing is. And then
get that word world out of it. You go for the WorldCoin when you have to give up your retina scan.
Now it's backed by Andreessen Horowitz, okay? And They get free coin to everyone. Project aims to make 1 billion crypto owners in 2 years, but you got to get scanned by the org. That's the whole thing.
Is his whole shtick, Sam, there? Is his whole shtick that everything he does sounds like it comes as a direct order from the Illuminati or something? I mean,
yeah, the Y Combinator, right? It's a little.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck?
That's it. Yep.
I think he was sent to this world to implement things. You know what I mean? He said
does anybody have a link to John Deaton's sign up? If you guys do, someone throw it into the chat. That'd be great.
Yeah, to sign up. I think it might be pinned still. But look at this. So his co-founder, Alex Blaney, said that the co-founders met in 2019, started working on a project in early 2020. Sam thought we could change the world for the better if we could launch a new collectively owned, globally distributed cryptocurrency. Now we got to get to the orb. An orb operator in Indonesia partnered with one of the biggest food delivery companies and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, there's some device. You got to use their orb. It's got to scan your eyeball, and then you can get your free crypto. And it's like distributed once.
With some company in Indonesia, some random company in Indonesia partnering with some food company in Indonesia, and they come up with this orb. What was that? The heck did you just read?
Listen, I'm going to become an orb operator. I don't know how I do that. But I want to operate. I want so here, Jeff, scan this. You know.
What is it? What is it transferring? What
I'd like
what kind of messages it's sending into your
well, Jeff,
I'm assuming you KYC before they get the scan of your eyeball and they connect the information with the eye.
Look at this. Was even invited by a chief of a nearby village to introduce the whole village to WorldCoin. Just scan your eyeball with the orb. It's cool. Everything's good. I had to look for it in several places because I'm like, is this for real, man? And I know Sam Altman tweeted it, but I'm like, is this some kind of a joke? I mean, seriously?
Is it a joke? Is it for real?
Users can participate in the WorldCoin network without providing an eye scan, but they will not be able to claim free coins. Well, then what's the point? Right. It's like, I'd love to participate in the program, but none of that crypto for me, man. Hell no.
Right.
What in that? You guys, thoughts on this? You don't know a lot about it, but seriously, I mean,
food stuff in a Indonesian company.
They have to start in areas of the world that are desperate for money or food or something, who willingly give over their eyeballs to this thing to get some cryptocurrency. And then once they have about 20 million of those people, they start telling everybody, we've got 20 million people in our network already. Everybody's doing it, Build slowly from the ground up.
Okay, here it is right here. I found it. So this was in another article. There's only one catch. You'll have to arrange to have your eyeball scanned by the hardware device the trio have developed. Called the orb, the device takes an image of a person's eyes to determine if they're real. They haven't already been scanned. Yeah, let's collect the eye,
this isn't for real.
I mean, I'm like, it cannot be for real. Anyone familiar with the know your customer procedures of exchange like Binance and Coinbase should recognize something in this process, but the purpose ostensibly isn't for KYC, but for digital ID. Yeah, and then storing all of your retina scans in a personal database. Perfect. Where do I sign up? This cannot be real. And if it is real, man, we have really crossed the proverbial, the precipice of common sense and reality. I don't know. Jeff, did you get your eyeball scan? How about you, DM?
No, I like no.
You were thinking about it though. How many coins do I get?
Well,
he's like, at what point could it be worthwhile?
Yeah, how many coins are they giving you?
How many is worth it?
A private island.
Look at this right here. Proxys Media Group says, "Yo, what is up, DM Logic?" Hey. That's awesome. See, man, you got so many fans here tonight, man.
When I used to do, I've been thinking about doing a live stream at some point, just because it was so cool to have. I got up to a lot of people on my live streams, and I'd be talking with people in Egypt, and talking with people in Australia, and talking with just all over the world. And I was so blown away. And when I talk about the great equalizer, this is one of the things I love about crypto. Nobody cares about your gender. Nobody cares about your preferences. Nobody cares what race you are. Nobody cares about anything in cryptocurrency. You're rooting for if you're a good person, you're rooting for everybody to succeed. You're taking everybody's advice who knows what they're talking about. You don't care anything about all that stuff that separates everybody in some way or other. It doesn't separate in crypto. It's actually, that's one of the ways that it brings everybody together. I'm friends with all sorts of people on Twitter that I'm sure in real life are nothing like me and live lifestyles nothing like me. But crypto brings us all together, and we all agree on that, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And but we have a lot of people really to watch from Europe. You know, they're up late at night, 1, 2 in the morning. We have a lot of fans over in Australia and just all over the place. I mean, all over the US. It's just, and what we always talk about too is the whole idea of what's happening right now, people standing up. The cryptocurrency, that decentralization idea is bringing people together, right? Because we have a common bond. There are no borders when it talks about freedom. Freedom is a concept that every human being wants to be part of. They don't care where they live. And then there's that tiny little minute fuel trying to crush souls and destroy it for everybody else.
Right. Well, freedom is a, in the United States, we have this thing where we recognize constitutionally that we have freedoms that predated governments that exist because God gave them to us from birth. We had them, and we recognize that constitutionally, and that's what made this special, what we did here. But the idea of freedom and the reality of freedom existing from birth exists worldwide. It exists globally. It's just people don't get to walk it out like we used to get to walk it out. When I was, a kid, or you guys were kids, we used to get to walk it out. I'm not so sure how much we get to anymore, but
check this out. Look at this Maui, right? We got Sean Thompson in here from Atlanta. Yeah. We got Edmonton, Alberta up in Canada. We got Finland in the house.
Awesome.
We have New Mexico in here as well. We got Rio, Brazil. Like I said, my son-in-law is Brazilian from Sao Paulo. It was just like everybody's here. Sacramento, we got Berserker in here. It's just phenomenal. Quebec, Canadians are really,
how cool is that?
Davey, that's right. Davey.
Look at that.
Look at that. It's right over by you, Jeff. Look at Chicago, St. Pete, Florida Army.
Awesome.
It's just really fantastic. San Diego, right there, Jungle.
San Diego.
And I'll be seeing you next month, Jungle. So I will just let you know that, man.
In person?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Got,
where?
Belgium, Brussels, right there. So if you got Vince,
let's see if I can coax him out of.
Vince, let everybody know how great the Delirium bar is. That's it.
What's
South
that?
Carolina, Oakland, Cocoa Beach, North Carolina. Jackie from North Carolina. Rabbit Hole, USA. I like that. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, people are here from all over the place, and I like your next move. I think this is a good thing you probably should explore, because one of the things that Jeff and I have criticized, and there's good organizations, look, they're run by good people, but what really bothered, I think, Jeff and I were these groups like the Blockchain Association. Ron Hammond's there. He used to work with Ripple, right? He worked with Warren Davidson. He was chiefly one of the people who put together the token taxonomy, but they were so silent when this lawsuit dropped against Ripple, and they were silent against the one on Library. And that, to me, kind of really tells me, what are they really about? I know they want legislation, but they weren't outspoken about it. And so why weren't they outspoken about it? Is because their donors didn't want them to speak about it. And that's the kind of thing you get into is that, why weren't they outspoken? Like, hey, we're not going to put up with this. We're going to, Jeff, why were they so quiet on that? I just don't understand.
I don't understand either. We look at it, and that was the biggest case right now in the history of crypto is the SEC v. Ripple, and nothing, just dead silence. And although Ron Hammond was really influential in the writing of the Token Taxonomy Act, you would think that once he gets into the lobbying realm, he'd be super outspoken. I don't know. These guys, they kind of just go into the normal routine. A lot of these guys are in DC. So you get into that DC swamp, and everything, kind of flows a certain way. I can remember a couple of years ago, we were talking to somebody, and we're talking about what it takes to run for Congress before anyone takes you seriously. And he said, you have to raise $1 million on your own before anyone takes you seriously. And if you don't do that, no one's going to pay any attention to you. And I've seen it over and over and over again. And then you get the good old boys network, it's just, they're very cliquish, and they all stick together. And it's to the detriment. So I think that some of this lobby group, in DC, they're all kind of part of the flow. And, I think that's part and parcel of the issue. Take a step outside of it, and all of a sudden you have an initiative from the community and a community outreach. And all of a sudden, the one thing that we've seen in the crypto space is there's a lot of money. And there's a lot of new money that's been developed in crypto, and people want to support this space more than ever. That's why people show up night after night after night, talking and chatting. Imagine if you were able to leverage this and push it. And we saw a little glimpse of it a few times. Once was when they tried to cram crypto into the infrastructure, and they threw the crypto in there. And Tom Emmer was saying when he was interviewed on another show, he said all of a sudden 40,000 people called a senator, 40,000, and never before. That's never happened. It's unprecedented to see people in this space rise up like that. And the other time we've seen this is in the SEC v. Ripple case. People have risen up in mass to attend these hearings, and they've never seen anything like it. So you could already see the power is here. We are the majority. And now if you can tap into that, bring it together, pull the resources, pull the energy, and all of a sudden we have Token Taxonomy Act passed in 2023.
So one of my ideas I had regarding, having a pack of some sort was that I'd be interested in creating media that got people involved in the crypto space, putting together a pool of money from people who have just made a bunch of it during the bull run, and then starting to do targeted ads about things, about topical issues regarding cryptocurrency, and encouraging people to start calling. And the reason I thought about going that direction is specifically because of that time with the infrastructure bill where people rose up. I didn't think people would. I just thought, like, crypto people sit on the rear ends. They do what they're doing. They're making money. Will they really act? I was really shocked the degree to which, the whole community rose up and started making those phone calls. And that just made me think, like, I wonder if we could affect this from the outside better than we could from the inside, trying to have conversations with people when you don't have when you don't want to pay them to get your influence. But affect it from the outside and create media and sort of drives on particular issues to get people whipped up and calling about it. That's kind of the way I thought of targeting it. But
well, the only reason you're right. I kind of wondered the same thing, but I know when you mess with people's money, you mess with their wallet, their pocketbook, all of a sudden people start like, whoa, hey, slow down, slow your roll. They don't. That's when they really step up. I want to say a shout out to Alan. Thank you for that. He says, please, community, don't worry too much. Just accumulate and wealth will come. I want to give a word of encouragement to those who are struggling and that are new to the space. Thanks, man. That's a really nice message, man. And you're right. That is something really important to point out. Like, just relax a little bit. Look, accumulate. It will come in time. Sometimes we get frustrated, but it's just we're still early.
Well, the beautiful thing is, everybody is pretty much educated now that this happens in cycles, and 4-year cycles, having to do with the Bitcoin halvings. If you don't reach your goal this time around, there's another in 2024. Put together your cash and get ready for the pullback and start getting in then when it's down 80, 90% or however much it goes down. Start maybe getting in at 70% down, and maybe it'll go back up, and you already have a position, or maybe it'll go down further and you can dollar cost average in more. That's it. We've got another chance at this in 3 years now. So just be patient. It will come. If you just accumulate during the down times, you can hardly not make good money if you just sit on your hands and leave it there.
That's it. And here's the alternative. The alternative is what's happening down in Venezuela. And someone earlier in the comments said Americans need to stop using the term socialism because they don't understand what it means. Well, we understand very clearly what socialism means.
Yeah,
and
we
here's
do.
a good example of it. And there you go. Right there, Venezuela. Venezuelans are now breaking off flakes of gold to pay for meals and haircuts. Now, imagine if those flakes of gold were flakes of XRP that they were, spending, little drops of XRP for their meals and haircuts, or they could be like El Salvador and legitimize Bitcoin as a currency and see a complete shift in the economy. However, their leadership in Venezuela won't do something like that because they just chopped 6 zeros off of their currency and went from where they've had over 1,000,000% inflation. And so now their million bolívar is now 1 bolívar, and they're kind of tricking you into believing, hey, we didn't have significant inflation. That's because they're using gold.
Yeah, and the other big development too, I think, where we have coming into DeFi and seeing what's happening with Songbird and getting that network tested, and we go on to Flare and so many other things, the federated sidechains. I think even though we're super early, the Flare doesn't exist yet. Oh, it does is Songbird, but it's, right now it's the test net. But once this comes in, and then once Flare Finance gets going and all of these other things and the federated sidechains, the expanse to the universe can become unbelievable. And I think that you might be able to continue to hodl on and then be able to work that. So now you're basically making passive income. When we were growing up, passive income looked like you get an insurance job, and every time you sign someone up, they renew every year, and that's passive income. Until one day they don't, and then you got to go out without, right? But there was the whole idea of passive income today. You're in a project, and every so often you get this many coins or that many coins, or you run a node, and then a node returns X amount in a month, and maybe they're not worth a lot now, but maybe they will be. So this is, how do you see this work in DM and like changing the space on the whole DeFi and how that might look 5 years from now?
Well, I just said to somebody recently, I think we're going to be looking back on this time 15 years from now, because things are going to moderate, I think, over the next 15 years. You've got some crazy stuff going on in DeFi right now. I mean, you've got 8,300% APY locking up your money. We're going to look back on this time in 15 years and say, what the heck was going on? What a window of opportunity people had to really do something with their money. That stuff's going to be moderated, maybe out of existence. I don't know. Maybe it'll still exist to some degree. Maybe you only get 2,500 APY in the future. I don't know. But there's some insane stuff going on right now. It is a window of opportunity. And it is ultimately what's going on now that's crazy is going to become the norm to some degree in the future. We're going to flip on its head this whole idea of banks paying you 0.01% interest, and you're supposed to be grateful for it. If they have if they're going to pay a 0.05, you're supposed to be happy. You give them their money, they say thanks for the free money, they charge you fees for it, and then they go make money on it, and they give you absolutely nothing for it. That's getting flipped, and those legacy systems know it's coming, and they are panicked beyond belief because they can't compete with the leanness of the new model that's coming out in crypto. They cannot compete. So they're panicked. We're going to change. Crypto is going to change everything in the next 10 years. Everything is going to run on crypto, specifically the financial world, but everything. Like ask Mr. B if real estate's going to be on crypto in the next 10 years, on the blockchain. It absolutely is.
It's already going there.
Yeah, art is going to be on the blockchain within a couple of years. Fractionalized ownership of buildings is going to be on the blockchain in 5 to 10 years. It's going to affect everything that's out there. It's going to become normal. And we're here at the beginning of this revolutionary thing and have an opportunity to get in it and sit on it and get a lot of money by doing it. If you can just sit on your hands and be patient, this is a magical time that we're probably never going to see again before we die.
That's it, because we've now had multiple opportunities, depending on how old you are, those that kind of lived through the 80s. And I'm sure there's individuals here that, were working during the 80s and not, young, but they were able to invest in high tech in the 80s. Then you had the dot-com boom of the 90s. Then you had basically a hiatus in the 2000s. I mean, you had the real estate boom. So if you got into flipping real estate, but that was not, not this kind of opportunity. I'm talking about longer term holds. Invest in stock in hardware in the 80s and hold that. Invest in the high tech .com in the 90s. And now all of a sudden, here we are in 2021. But now this started 2010. So 2010 till now, we've been in this crypto boom or Bitcoin boom, whatever you want to call it. But you're right, 100%. This is like that, it's a third window of opportunity that's being presented to people. Some people say, hey, there were overnight successes, as you're talking about these crazy year-over-year returns. That's going to go away. I don't see how that could continue long term. However, the increase in valuation of the projects, those will. I mean, that's going to be massive, right? Just like, Microsoft and Apple, Amazon and Google, and now you're going to have the crypto space. And it's not 1 year old. Bitcoin took 10 years. So think about where we're going to be. Like you said, 10, 15 years from now, holy cow, it's going to be impressive. Yeah.
Look at that right there. So Alan says, my wife's from Venezuela. She's seen all the social and all the corruption that's happened in the country, and she's witnessed the poverty. And this is the thing, when you experience it firsthand, it's not like watching it on TV or watching a movie. And this is what a lot of people, because what happens is that, Jeff and I talk about this all the time. There's always one group that comes along and says, yeah, they just didn't implement it properly. Like, we implement it, it's going to be perfect. Well, it's never worked. It's never going to work. But it's like, because central planning's never worked. I mean, and this is why, I'm not real big on the CBDCs. I'd like to get your opinion on it, but for the potential reason of what could potentially go wrong, what are your thoughts on CBDCs?
I'm not a big fan of them philosophically speaking, but I think they're inevitable. I don't think there's any way around it. I don't think there's any way around it as far as the government implementation of these things. There's always ways around it because I have private wallets that they have no clue about. And I have currencies, digital currencies that, they have no clue about. It doesn't mean I'm going to, I just mean there's other avenues, there's other pathways to do things. It's not all going to have to flow through CBDCs just because they exist. I think they're inevitable, but I think freedom will win out in the end, one way or another.
And there you go. So, and I agree with you, but look at this. French central bank pilots blockchain-based CBDC for debt market led by Belgian financial services from Euroclear. The latest French CBDC trial involved a system by tech giant IBM. But this goes back to something you said before. They're trying everything to stay relevant. And they realize how fast the brick and mortars are dwindling. And they have a window of opportunity to try to seize their opportunity. And they're like, hey, we're in this space. We're the financial mecca here. And now all of a sudden retail is replacing us. And it's happening faster than they can react to. And that's the point. Alex Mashinsky had once told us when he was on that once we come out of all of this, out of the rubble, all of these big financial titans of now or yesterday of the brick and mortars, they're going to be replaced. And there's a whole new group of people, and we already see them coming about that are going to replace them. And then you get rid of all the middle. You don't need all the middle fat that it takes to run a brick and mortar.
What was the name of that company? Was the name of that company Skynet in that last article you read? I'm just curious if it's
in the Terminator.
Yeah, it's like Skynet's taken over, rise of the computer, rise of the machines, rise of the corporations, and there's nothing to see here. It's all fantastic, but
I'll tell you what gives me some, real hope just from my own personal experience. I worked at Kodak actually back in late 90s, early 2000s, right at the time of the digital revolution in terms of cameras. And there was nobody bigger in the world in terms of cameras and film sales. 85% of their revenues were from film sales. And suddenly they find themselves way behind in technology because they just kept hitting film sales more and more and more and more. We got to, you know, feed people film. We got to get people buying film. And before they knew it, they were, you know, 15 miles behind in a marathon, and there was no way they could possibly catch up. And you saw a business go from, I think, 75, 85,000 employees in downtown Rochester to zero. They're totally out of that kind of business now because they were so far behind. This is the legacy financial systems. They're trying to hang on to what they have, force people into it, give people 0.05%, and they think they're going to keep coming to their bank and giving them their money. They are miles behind in this race now, and they don't even know it, half of them. Some of them do and are completely panicked. But there's no catching up at this point. This thing is taken over, and they're going to find it out in the next couple of years.
I agree with that. So you bring up Kodak in Rochester. Did you spend any time in Rochester?
I lived in Rochester for 17 years.
All right. So this is bringing everything together. Chip was in Buffalo. I was in Syracuse, and you're in Rochester.
I went to school there, and then I lived there for 17 years up in Rochester. Yeah. Man. That's hilarious. Yeah, right along the corridor, Route 90. We all know about snow from October to April.
That's how I escaped. Yeah, that's how I escaped.
Detroit, and Chip was in Detroit.
I left Detroit, and he moved to Detroit, so it's kind of weird that we both live in South Florida. Weird. Yeah. But I just want to say shout out to everybody tonight who showed up for this. What a great conversation we've had. You know, Dan, we'll give you the last word once we get out of here, but I want to just say it's great. And also a big shout out to Hands Loaded, who's been helping us with you know, the chapters. So like on what he'll basically write down everything, and then we put them on our video. That way, if you wanted to go, hey, I remember DM said something about this, and then you could click on it and then go right to it. So big shout out to Hands Loaded for helping with that, because he's been doing an amazing job. We give him a shout out in the comments, but I want to give him a shout out on the show. And he's been phenomenal in that. And also too, I want to just let everybody know that next week is an all new week. So Jeff is going to be streaming tomorrow. Jeff, tell him what our schedule is in case anybody forgot. And don't forget to hit that like, subscribe.
You guys realize that we do stream 6 days a week. Now, DM might not know it, but 6 days a week, Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the rant show. So that's a perfect show to be on. You want to be involved in the rant, then show up Saturday mornings. Then the whole week starts all over again on Sunday. I'm shocked that today is Thursday. You know, I don't know where the week goes. It was Friday again. So that's how it goes, you know, and if you guys are brand new here, make sure, I guess you're already throwing it up, but make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notifier, and go check out DM Logic's channel. Also, I saw that you posted a video like 4 weeks ago. So I don't know if you're posting any new content, but if you're not, go back and watch all of his previous content. It was some awesome stuff. And it was funny, just as a kind of a last parting word here, but when DM came into the chat, I'm just listening to the voice. I'm like, oh, I missed that voice. Like, it's funny. Back in the early days, it was Jungle, it was DM, you know, and there were just a few other, but it's funny. It was like an everyday occurrence, you know, certain Rob Cash. There's like, you know, certain voices that, you know, trigger memories, you know, so, you know, it's been great, man. It's been awesome having you on the show with us. You know, it's been a long time since we wanted to bring you on. So I really appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you guys made it easy to enjoy, honestly. It's hard to pull me out and onto something like this because it's just difficult to do it. But I had a very good time talking to you. It's easy to talk to smart guys that have a global perspective on these kind of issues. Yeah, it was a great show. I appreciate you guys having me on.
We'll have to have you back at some point. Jungle's like weekly. Maybe not weekly, but we'll see if we can get you on here every quarter or something, you know, something that works for you time-wise, because there's so much to unpack, and we only like skim the surface, but it was a lot of fun. So thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Right. Hang there for a minute while we go in the outro, and then we'll talk to you right after that. But
yeah, just stay there. We're still here.
That's what we got. I think, Chip, if you're ready to
I'm ready, man. DM, you ready? Let's get out of here. But remember,
I'm
stay
ready.
in here. We'll talk to you in the green room backstage. All right, guys.
Okay.
Have a great one. We'll see you on Jeff's stream Saturday morning, 8 a.m. See you later, guys. We're out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.